Okay, let's just delve a little bit deeper and have a quick discussion about altering the angles on the cuffs of your ski boots. Now, there are two different approaches on how to do this. The first is what 95% of people should be focused in on, and that's dialing in the cuff alignment. Now, the other thing that can be done is actually altering the canting, which when I refer to this, it's all about making a stance adjustment. So let's first start with the cuff alignment. So what we're looking to achieve here is we're matching the angle of the cuff to the angle of your lower leg. And there's a few benefits to this, whether you're a little bit knock-kneed or perhaps a bit more bow-legged, you're then lining up to match your body geometry. Now, not only that, your leg will sit central in the cuff and you'll be flexing your boot properly. You'll also have an even spacing either side of your leg, so when you're tipping the boots over, you're going to have an even response to steer your skis. And then we talk about canting. So what I'm referring to here is actually using the cuff as a leverage point in order to change the feedback and performance that you get out of the boot. So this is usually reserved for more technical or perhaps even ski racers and people who really know what they're feeling in their boots in order to drive a different level of performance. So for example, what I'm talking about here is you may want to adjust the cuff and tilt them both outwards so you have closer contact to the inside of your leg. What this in turn will do is give a faster response time as you're diving over onto that outside ski. Another example of this is you could also tilt both boots in one direction if you're looking to just work on one direction of turn. Now, this happens in very small increments. It's not something you're going to just dive the whole cuff over to one direction. You're usually just moving a millimeter or two to get that different feel and feedback out of your boots. So, is this something you can experiment with yourself? You can, if you wanted to. It's not going to be the end of the world if you do it wrong, but it can throw out your balance. So it's something, if you adjust it wrong and it's not quite right, you may just end up skiing like shit. But if you did want to play with it, you want to do some small increments, you want to mark the position before you make that adjustment. Now, I'll just quickly run through more details, the two different processes and what you're looking to achieve. Okay, so with the cuff alignment, you'll generally find three different scenarios. Now, the first one is like this boot, where it has a completely fixed cuff and no ability to adjust these angles. Now, that is not necessarily a bad thing. For the vast majority of people, this fixed cuff boot will actually match the angle of their leg quite well. You'll see that no ski boots are set up at a 90-degree vertical angle. All of them have about 3 to 4 degrees of offset. And this, for someone who has a fairly normal stance, is going to match perfectly off the bat. But then you'll also find boots that either have one adjustable rivet or two completely adjustable rivets that give you a lot of different articulation. So this is where you can make a large amount of adjustment. So you need to find the appropriate tool, whether that be a specific brand's boot adjustment tool or even an Allen key, and then you're rotating this cuff to the position you're looking for. Now, you do need to sight this in, so you will want to get the liner completely out of the boot. You want to stand into your boots if you have a footbed on top of your footbed as well, and then you're looking to rotate it until you are looking nice and central. You need to check this cuff alignment in both positions, so you need to be standing upright and you also need to look at it as you're flexing forward. And you also just want to make sure that as you're transitioning in between both, your knees are tracking nicely over the center of the boot. And that's the best way to check your cuff alignment. Okay, and then to the canting aspect. Now, in my world, when I'm usually using the word canting, it's really in relation to adjusting the angles underneath the feet with what's called sole canting. Now, the reason for this is usually when you change these angles from underneath, it's going to have a larger impact and greater result in affecting your stance alignment. So if you have balance problems, this is likely the first place to start before trying to force the issue too fast with the cuff. So when you've got a nice alignment from a sole perspective, and then you adjust your cuff to suit that nice alignment, this is when you can then incrementally change the position for this cuff canting. So to do this, what I suggest is actually take a fine tip marker and mark your initial position onto the side. Now from here is when you're making the alteration to the cuff position, and you can do it in 1 or 2 millimeter increments, and then you really want to go test this on snow. It gives you a direct feedback, you can feel what's going on with your boots, and then you can either change it back or tilt it further. Okay, so that is a rundown on both cuff alignment and cuff canting, the difference in terminology I use. I don't know if that's a full industry standard, but that's how I like to set them apart. So let me know in the comments if this has been enlightening, if this is something you do to your own boots, or if it's helped you in your direction on what to do with this aspect of your boots. Thanks heaps for watching. Stay rad, be a patriot. Signing out.